Hi, welcome to Dad, What's for Dinner? And today I'll be giving you my pizza dough recipe. I'm not actually going to be making a pizza in this one. I'm just going to make the dough because that's the most important part. So step one, slam a beer because you're dad and you're going to make dinner and it's going to be awesome. Oh, sweet. Now step two, drop a sick beat. All right, now that we established that, we got to find that giant mixer that you have somewhere in your house. If you've ever been married, it was probably on your wedding registry list. So if you don't have one, like everything else in life, it's probably your parents' fault. So get that thing out there. All right, here we go. Plug it in. All right, here. We're gonna need the hook, the dough hook, I think it's called. I'm not really sure. I'm not really a professional. But you know what? I cook dinner, and this is my recipe for pizza dough here. Tried a different couple over the years. This is the one I go with. It makes 4 very large pizzas. I try and get that big New York slice going as best I can in my own house. All right, so we're gonna add 2 cups of hot water. You can just turn on the hot water, let it run, and dump it in there. Next step is we're going to add the yeast. I use Flushman's pizza yeast. You can use regular active dry yeast if you have that in the house, but I think the pizza yeast gives it a little bit of that flavor that you like in a pizza dough. All right, next we're going to add 4 teaspoons of sugar. Teaspoon. Sometimes I get the teaspoon and tablespoon mixed up because I'm kind of dyslexic, but I really screwed up the pizza once because I screwed up put like a full tablespoon of salt in there. So we're going to make sure we put a teaspoon of salt in there next. And just mix it around just to get the yeast and the sugar activated, because the yeast is going to eat the sugar and it like craps out CO2, and that's why you get the bubbles in a dough that's going to rise overnight. So we're going to get that mixing, get that spinning around. Listening to this sick beat. We're going. Could use another beer right about now. All right. So next step, we're going to start putting in the flour. And I start 2 cups at a time. So we're going to put the first 2 in, and then we're just going to let the mixer run. All right, good time to grab another beer if that's what you're into. Or if you're a classy gent, maybe a glass of Chardonnay, I don't know, whatever you're into. Yep, and let the dough mix. Now, I started making my own pizza because I grew up in New York where, I got used to, good pizza that tastes good. And I moved out to the West Coast and they really just can't make good pizza out here. And I was getting tired of paying all this money for pizza. And it just, wasn't good. And they have these weird things where you take and bake, where you buy the pizza but you cook it yourself, and that was probably the best pizza around. But why don't I just make it? So I'm just making it. I'm making my own pizza and I'm trying to make it taste like New York pizza. So I'm throwing in 2 more cups of flour and let that go and let it kind of firm up here. So it takes some practice. The dough is the most important part. So the first time you make it, it's just, it might not be good. The first time I made it, it wasn't that good, but you practice over time. Especially the next point, when you go to make a pizza and transferring it to the oven and out of the oven, that takes some practice. So, just like everything, you got to learn how to do it slowly. All right, so next step, in between, before we do the last 2 cups of flour, we're going to put in the oil. All right, so just vegetable oil. I'm using olive oil here, I think. So any type of vegetable oil works. And these are tablespoons, big T, tablespoons of oil. And you just drop it in there and let it slop around and it will absorb into the dough. This is probably like the most debated part of pizza dough I found online, is when to add the oil. I found this works the best. Some people try and add it after when the dough's all done. I just found that awkward, but this works. So it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, then I don't fucking care. All right, so you can see now we got some dough. It looks like dough down there, right? We're doing good. There it comes, the last flour. Last cup. That's number 5. Those of you playing at home. There it is. And the last one, just drop it right in there. Drop it like a 6 beat. Oh, where'd my music go? Alright, so I'm going to speed the video up a little bit just to get through this last portion, because you're pretty much just going to let the mixer do its thing. Keep running, you'll keep an eye on it. I don't really have times for any of this thing. I kind of just play it by ear here. I keep an eye on the dough. When I see it's nice and dough-like, you know what dough is supposed to look like, right? So once it looks like that, that's when I'll pull it out. In the meantime, I'll enjoy a tasty beverage while I'm watching this go round and round and round. Now you're gonna have to let this sit overnight in the refrigerator. So if you're planning on making pizza, it's something you gotta start ahead of time. You gotta get all the ingredients and then let it sit overnight. You can just leave it out for 2 hours and let it rise, but I think a slow ferment in the refrigerator is what's best. All right, so here I am. I just pull it off the dough hook, and I'm gonna pull it out here in a second. I'm probably gonna throw some flour down on the counter. If I didn't, I should have. And the bottom of that dough looked a little dry. Usually it would be a little bit more looking like the top of that dough looked, but if I just knead it a little bit, it'll come out looking right. There we go. Put some flour down. Always put flour down when you're working on dough. And I'm just gonna kind of fold it in on itself, and I'm gonna stretch the top of that dough. And I'm just gonna push it into the back. See what I'm doing? There's always going to be a crease there at the back, but you don't want a bunch of creases, just like one crease, and you get a nice top, like a nice smooth surface on the top of your dough. Yeah, looking good. Could have put that more in the frame so we can actually see the whole dough. That's something I'll have to work on next time. But hey, I'm learning. You're learning. Everybody's learning stuff and drinking. That's what's important. See, that's kind of what you want the bottom of the dough to look like, and that's what you want the top of the dough to look like. You don't want to over flour it at this point. You just put the flour down so it doesn't stick to the counter. Now I use a big pot. You can use a bucket, whatever you want. Just anything works. I'm going to spray it with a little oil. You can also just drop oil in there if you don't have the spray oil. I'm going to spray the top of it. Put the lid on. I'm going to spray the lid too. Can't have enough oil. And we're going to switch it over to portrait mode when I put it in the refrigerator. Way to go, Dad. All right, so hey, join me next time. I'll teach you how to actually make a pizza. It's going to be fun. Here's the recipe again. All right, like, share, subscribe, whatever. I don't know, whatever you do. I don't know. Do whatever you want. See you guys later.